Hi, man. How are you? Hey, how are you guys?
Nice to see you.
I'm so glad you're here.
I know, this is so fun.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah.
This is Mari.
Mari, good to see you again. It's been a while.
This is Josh. Do you remember Josh?
Awesome.
At the science school? Vaguely.
Vaguely.
I kind of recognize.
Maybe like in passing every once in a while.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes glasses.
Sometimes glasses.
Yeah.
They're gonna fog up, so not today.
I know.
Yeah. You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. I have a kid who is going to summer camp on Tuesday.
Well, they're going tomorrow.
Yeah, and so she needs a negative test on Tuesday morning, so I'm just being a little extra
I
cautious.
don't know why. I wonder if we should do the same. Where's yours?
No.
Well, I don't have any pockets.
Come with me. Okay. Can I get a prayer book real quick?
Let me go look for it. Whoa.
You found what? You found the prayer book? Hey, it's for you. Oh, very nice.
You can wear it.
You like her? Should I just tease you like her? I think that's so true. It goes this way. It goes totally yeah. Yeah, I called you chopped up. It's funny because look, it translates to all different things.
It's so sad because all the camping and
Oh, it's got quite a summer.
Yes. Did you get to see pictures from our weekend? I haven't seen some of the pictures from the weekend. Oh, we'll have to show you. Just with it a great. Oh, really surprising.
I think I got it. Is this?
No, they have some.
And you did because the other direction. Yes, we were. Andy was doing this. Isn't that the issue? Yeah, no, that. I mean, but I just can see this now, right? I was just explaining when she reads, you see the little vowels underneath? Yeah. Which helps you with the pronunciation. Yeah. And as in sentences. Yeah. When she reads from the Torah, it's all together with no vowels. Oh. It is extremely hard. Wow. I mean, it takes a lot of practice and then just do it is. Yeah, that's great. Oh, we'll have to get her to show us someday.
Just kind of.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But they hadn't really been, for months and months and months ahead of time. They were, busy on weekends in the Bay Area.
Oh, okay. So they were saying Jewish community.
Same in
So
Portland.
this is the second.
Piper and I were working on a dance when we moved spots. She's much better at it than I am, so my apologies in advance. Shabbat shalom, everyone. It is What a joy to all be gathered here together to celebrate this moment. Gathered with friends, with family, gathered with folks from our Jewish community, gathered with folks from non-Jewish backgrounds. I want to share a couple of special thank yous. First, I'm going to work with Judd to make sure I don't break the mic, which I might apologize. Okay. Can everyone hear me okay? Awesome. I want to share a couple of special thank yous. I want to share a welcome to our Minnesota visitors, our Minnesota family, Papa Paul, Piper's grandfather, Piper's cousin Emma. It's so good to have you all here and visiting and celebrating Piper today. What a blessing to have you here. And from Denver, Piper's great aunt Norma Jill. Where's Norma Jill? There's Norma Jill. And Mark. Where's Mark? Mark, wonderful to have you here from Denver. It's wonderful from Seattle to have Piper's Uncle Graham. Good to have you here, Piper's Uncle Graham. And I want to give a welcome to Dennis and Vivian, Piper's grandparents from Fort Worth, Texas, all the way originally from South Africa. And I want to share, Vivian, our walks leading up to this point, our phone calls leading up to this point, made me realize how beautiful and important this moment is in the lineage of your family. And it's so beautiful to have you here celebrating this moment with Piper and with your whole family. Welcome to friends and family live streaming. Can everyone look at the camera real quick and just give a wave? Give a wave to our live streamers. We got a bunch of Stacy's family from Minnesota who's gathered on live stream who couldn't be here today, and we want to welcome them as well. And we have folks all the way from Wilson, Wyoming. Hey, Kings! Yeah, awesome. So folks from Jackson, beautiful to have our Jackson community and family gathered to be able to celebrate this day, celebrate Shabbat, celebrate Piper. And welcome to Craig and Stacy, Piper's mom and dad, Piper's brother Ryder. What's up, Ryder?
Hello.
And Piper's brother. It's not going to be long until you're up here, Ryder. Pretty soon you're going to be up here in the same space. I imagine you all, Craig and Stacy and Ryder, are feeling pretty darn proud of Piper at this moment in time.
Yes.
Yeah. Judd, beautiful as always to be together on Shabbat on Saturday morning. Wonderful. And Piper, welcome to you. 70 degrees out and the farmer's market is right down the way. You and I could be there, but you are here. And that in and alone is a testament to your commitment to this process. I'll talk more about that. I'll talk more about this soon. However, I think it's a recognition of how much you're loved to see family and friends be gathered to celebrate you in a special time. I shared a couple weeks ago when we gathered in the same space, if you remembered how special it is to gather on Shabbat. And Shabbat's a pretty important moment in the Jewish community, the Jewish Sabbath, our weekly day of rest. The idea of rest and disconnection from work and technology, how important that is. The idea of deep connection to family, to our faith, to our people, to the wisdom of our traditions. Shabbat brings this wisdom to our lives every week, every Saturday. And I believe Shabbat is needed now more than ever in our lives and in our world. So today is special, Piper, because it's Shabbat. Because it's Shabbat and we bring together our community in prayer. And it's special because we celebrate you. We celebrate your becoming a Bat Mitzvah, an age-old tradition in the Jewish community, your coming of age in the Jewish community. And there's lots of other traditions like this in other religious communities, but ours is unique. There's things that are unique about it, and we've been engaged in a bunch of them. But right now, we're going to start the service. We're going to start the service with the first of this unique traditions. Piper's going to put on her prayer shawl. You'll see Judd has his, just recently minted from Jerusalem. Mine was given to me by my parents at my bar mitzvah. Wearing a prayer shawl is something that we can only do in the Jewish community when we're adults. So this is the first time Piper officially puts on her talis, her prayer shawl. And it's a special moment, and we're amazingly blessed to have Piper's grandmother Vivian come and join in this tradition. So Piper, talis, first prayer. So Piper, you want to say a prayer before you pray? would. Piper's going to lead us in one of my favorite prayers in Judaism, the Shechechianu. And this is a prayer about thanking God for this moment in time, because this moment is unlike any moment before and unlike any moment to come. And we want to bless this moment because of that.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
Shechechianu v'kiyamanu v'hidyanu l'azman hazeh.
Beautiful, on page 105. Elohim Shema Shenatata B'Yitzehu Mahi. 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 Elohim Shema Shenatata B'Yitzehu Mahi.
The morning blessings, the blessings that we traditionally say every morning when we arise can be found on page 106. And Judd, and this is a new tradition in our B'nai Mitzvot process, and I love it. And so Judd and Piper are going to lead us in our blessings that we say when we arise. Good morning.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasechmi bina lehavhin ben yom uben layla. Praise be the eternal God who has implanted mind and instinct within every living being.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael, who has made me a Jew.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben porim, who has made me to be free.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokei ivrim, who helps the blind to see.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish avumim, who clothes the naked.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, who frees the captive.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim, who lifts up the fallen.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzadeh gaver, who makes firm our steps.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura, who girds our people Israel with strength.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifara, who crowns Israel with glory.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, anoten laya'ef koach, who gives strength to the weary.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hama'avir shena me'anai, u'numa me'achapai, her who sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
Amen.
Maybe we should have come up with a specific pen speed. That's what I think I did. And this is a beautiful opportunity for us to come together this morning on Shabbat. For those of you who are here, who is here for your very first bar Bat Mitzvah? Any complete newbies? Yes. This is so exciting. So wonderful opportunity for you all to get a sense of what this service is about, what this tradition is about. And I also see, just by looking around, we have some folks who I know are Shabbat and Bar Mitzvah veterans, folks who have been around the block. So we are coming together with a really beautiful, diverse community for this service. I think it's a wonderful thing as we enter into the rest of Piper's Bat Mitzvah. Jewish or not, Bat Mitzvah, veteran, or new to this experience, we're all here in communal support of Piper. We're all here in communal support of Piper, and I think it's important to honor and pause this moment. So this is what I'd like us to do. I want you to take a moment and turn to this congregation that we've created, this beautiful, diverse, interfaith congregation. Find someone and meet them in the eye, someone you don't know, and make a point of connection. If you want, you can go say hello. Wish them a Shabbat Shalom, a peaceful day of rest. So let's start there. Find someone you don't know. Go ahead. You can get up and move.
This is happening so much this weekend. Grandparents, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
We live in Victor, and they're right here. And we're part of this congregation.
Now,
To be here. Yes.
now I want everyone to take a moment and now find someone that you know well. Find that beloved person, whether it's a family member or a community member, and make eye contact with them. Look around. Make that deep connection, recognizing that we're with our beloveds on this Shabbat, the celebration of Piper. Maybe, I like that, maybe give them a big old squeeze. Maybe give them a big old squeeze. We come together in a beautiful, diverse, interfaith community to celebrate Shabbat and to celebrate Piper this morning. And I want to make sure that as we enter into the service, that your guides, Judd and me and Piper, will help you walk through it. So we know where we are, so we know how we're progressing through the service. And to make that easiest, and to make it make the most sense for those that are new, I want to share a couple parts and pieces of what this service entails. Just a couple, not the whole thing. First and foremost, and there's 4 parts I'd like to highlight. First and foremost are the prayers. We're going to be involved in lots of prayers today as a group. Some of those prayers are in Hebrew. Some of them are in English. Some of them are said out loud. Some of them are said silently in our hearts. There's all sorts of prayers that are read and all sorts that are sung. Now what's beautiful and what I find most inspiring is some of the prayers that we'll read today, and I shared this when we were up here with Jaden last, some of these prayers date back 2,000 years. There are prayers that we can date back 2,000 years, and we're saying those prayers and have been as a people for 2 millennia. And some of them are new and are created to help bring our traditions into the context of today. And so I hope that if you are with us and you know these prayers, sing with your Jewish neshama, with your Jewish soul fully brightened and alive. I know that Piper and I standing up here singing will enjoy it and be grateful if you're singing with us. Not just us alone, right? Yeah. If you are new to these services, I really encourage you just to allow for the prayers to soak over you. One of the most amazing spiritual meditative things I do is to listen to Judd sing. And so if you don't know the words, if you don't know how to join into the prayers, please try to find that spiritual space that I think some of our ancient prayers, our newer ones, can give us. So first and foremost, lots of prayers. Join us. The second is Torah and Mincha. Torah and Mincha. First and foremost, Piper has the amazing opportunity to chant from the Jacksonville Jewish Community Torah today. This is an ancient tradition. This is the Jewish Bible that she'll chant directly from in Hebrew. We'll talk a bit about what that looks like, but there's some minchag, some custom associated with chanting from Torah and other aspects of the service. There are some customs of standing at parts of the service that might be a bit more holy, right? And so if you see us or we ask you to stand, that's what's going on. There's a custom at that moment in time. There's something special about that part of the service. Minchag, a custom. There's times where we sit, and there's times where we bow. If you don't know, you feel free to follow along, or feel free to do what's moved in your heart based on what you're experiencing at that moment in time. Most importantly, and one of my mentors shared this, God doesn't judge us based on standing or sitting in a service. So find what's in your heart. If you're physically unable to stand, please remain seated. But find what's in your heart, what will fuel your soul as you go through the service. Third, there's interpretations. So Piper has done an amazing job of interpreting this ancient text and bringing her wisdom to this. So we'll share, Piper will share her interpretations. I'll share my reflections on those interpretations, and then Craig is going to come up and share his thoughts as well. So you'll hear some reflections on all of those. And then there is candy. Does everyone have candy? Okay. This is a very important part of the service. Very important part of the service. I think there might be a deep religious teaching associated with candy. I don't know what it is. So rather what I'll share is that we'll hold that candy until, please don't eat it, we'll hold that candy until a very special moment in the service. It's the moment when Piper officially has fulfilled her responsibilities of the prayer and Jewish and Hebrew parts of the service. And then we get to throw candy at her to celebrate in the sweetness. And if we're so moved, we're going to get up and dance, because that is the sweet part of time where Piper is most excited. We're all most excited. So, wait for me to tell you when. Okay? Poorly timed candy throwing during a Shabbat service does not work well. Does not work well. So I'll let you know when, but grab that candy and have it at the ready. A few housekeeping items. If you do have a phone, I'd ask that you silence it so that we don't have those distractions during the service. And then obviously there's an exit there, 2 exits up here, just so that folks are aware of those. Most importantly, and I'll share this a little bit later when I reflect on our experiences, Piper and my experiences studying together, let's bring joy to this experience. It's Shabbat, Piper's Bat Mitzvah. So let's enter into the rest of the service with simcha, with joy. Let's turn to page 108 for the Reader's Kaddish.
Yikadam, Yikadash Shemecha, Adivak Yotek Yonik Machute, Pachai Yekon Yom Echon, Uchayet Echo Bet Yisrael, Agala Bagala, Mismachukami, Nemohu Amin, Yehesh Me'Bagam Baga, Elam Lame Havaya, Yitbach, Yitbach, Yishtabach, Yipa'ach, Moman Yitnaseh, Yitada, Yitaleh, Yitalal, Shameh Kudesha, Le'elam Yifata, Tashirata, Tushmata, V'nehemata, Damilam Be'alma, Memoru, Amen.
The Baruch Hu is on page 109, and this is one of those prayers that we ask you, if you're willing, able to stand, to be welcoming into our communal prayer.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborah.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Elam Va'ed.
You can be seated. On the bottom of page 109, there's a beautiful English prayer and reading, and we ask that we read this responsively together. So Piper's going to read the regular print. We're going to respond with that simcha, with that joy, and with that spirit in the italic print. And we'll go from 109 to 110. Will you lead us?
We praise you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe. Your mercy makes light to shine over the earth and all its inhabitants, and your goodness renews day by day the work of creation.
How manifold are your works, O God!
In wisdom you have made them all.
The
The
heavens
heavens declare your glory.
the earth reveals your creative power. You form light and darkness, bring harmony to nature and peace to humankind. We
We
praise
praise you, O God, creator of light.
Deep is your love for us, abiding your compassion. From of old we have put our trust in you, and you have taught us the laws of life. Be gracious now to us, so we may understand and fulfill the teachings of your word.
Enlighten our eyes in your Torah, that we may cling to your mitzvah. Unite our hearts to love and revere your name. We trust in you and rejoice in your saving power, for you are the source of our help. You have called us and drawn us near to you in faithfulness. Joyfully, we lift up our voices, proclaim your unity, O God. In love, you have called us to your service.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושננת לבניך ודיברת בם, ושישך בביתך ולבבך בדרך ושקלתך ושקלת להיות על ידך ויראת בעיניך ותחת מזוזות ביתך ומישורך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את מצוותיי והייתם קדושים בעיניכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We turn to the bottom of page 112, and we'll do the same, the responsive reading on the bottom of 112 of the Piper readings.
Eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is no one else.
May all the world rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares.
Let them beat their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation. Let them study war no more.
You shall not hate another in your heart. You shall love your neighbor as yourself.
Let the stranger in your midst be to you as a native, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
The house of bondage you went forth to freedom, so that all be free to say next part of the service, this is a transitional part of our service. So the next part of our service is the Amidah. And the Amidah is the central part of any Jewish service. This is the central standing prayer. It's when we recite some prayers out loud together, and Judd will lead us in those. And then there's this moment when we pause and when we find the prayers that are within our hearts. And so there'll be this moment where we'll invite you for silent prayer. We'll all be standing, and then when you're wrapped up with those prayers, you can be seated, or as we sometimes see, whenever Piper sits, everyone will sit. Yeah. So the Amidah is found on page 114, and we'll start with Adonai Sfatai Tifta. Beautiful prayer. And it's about opening up our lips so that we can find the words, opening up our hearts so that we can find the meaning for good prayers.
Page 114. Adonai, Eloheinu.
This is the transitional moment in the Amidah where we invite you to find those personal prayers within your heart. I welcome you if you so desire to close your eyes, to lower your gaze, and to do your personal work of prayer. And when you're wrapped up with that, be seated, and Judd will bring us back with Yehu Liratzon, a beautiful communion. Next part of the service, where as you see, there's these different parts of the service, right, as we progress forward. The next part of the service is the Torah service, and this is one of the more sacred parts of any Shabbat Jewish service. After Piper sings directly from the Jewish Bible, from our Torah, she'll also share words of Devar Torah. Devar Torah literally means a word of Torah. She's going to share her own words of Torah. She's going to share with you a bit about what she read and how she thinks it's pertinent and meaningful for all of us in our lives. I want to share a couple of key points of note associated with the Torah portion of a Shabbat service. First and foremost, there's lots of moving parts, literally moving parts. We're going to open up the ark, we're going to bring out the Torah. The Torah has a cover and a strap that we're going to need to remove. There's books and microphones that are going to be moved around, so there's lots of tachlis, there's lots of logistics that you'll see. So just bear with us as we go. It's part of being in the service together. There's also lots of minchag, there's lots of tradition. There's lots of things that we'll ask you to do standing and sitting at key times that are different traditions that we have. There's blessings that we will invite different folks up to. As part of this tradition, Piper's going to hold our Torah and walk it around. And this is a beautiful tradition. She's going to do so with her family. And you might see folks taking a talis or a prayer book and touching the Torah and then kissing it. Feel free to join in doing so. That's one of our customs, to just honor these teachings, this book that we have been reading as a people for literally thousands of years. We're also getting pretty close to the candy throwing moment. It's not when she's reading Torah. It's very challenging. I think Piper probably could pull it off, knowing Piper, but that's not when we throw Torah. I'll let you know when that moment is to come. A couple things about the Torah in and of itself, and you'll see it. It's a scroll written on parchment using oak gall ink, the ink created from insect galls on oak trees. It's handwritten, and if you want to take a look at some point, we'd be happy to show you. It's really an amazing thing. Our Torah is special for two reasons, and Piper, we talked about this a little bit. The columns of the Torah, every single letter of Hebrew that starts, each column starts with a vav. It's like starting a book with every single page starting with the letter V. There's a very unique vav Torah. It's beautiful and it's pretty amazing to be able to read from it. The other thing that's unique about our Torah is that our Torah is a Holocaust surviving Torah. Our Torah was stolen by the Nazis. It was put in storage. And there are a number of Torahs like this. It was put in storage to someday put in a museum to point out victory over an extinct race. Thank God that's not the case. Our Torah is an example of the survivorship of our people. The strength, the commitment that it takes for us to be here today, for Piper to stand up here today to read from this Torah is a blessing. And we need to recognize that as we stand up together. So as you might imagine, this is an extremely holy moment when we open up the ark, when we bring out the Torah, when we engage in this experience with Piper. And so when we do so, we'll ask you to stand. It's also holy because there's a beautiful tradition that Piper's engaging in. This is the Dor Vador. This is passing down this process and all the teachings that you learned from generation to generation, the Dor Vador. And it's holy because, as I shared, it's because of Piper's family, because of this Jewish community, and because of all those who have come before us, who have committed to the work necessary to continue traditions in our communities. We find ourselves on page 142 to launch into our Torah service. When we open the ark, that's when we'll ask you to stand. scribe, and this is a pretty amazing moment. So this is not just the idea of Piper passing down these traditions by reading Torah. We're going to physically pass the Torah down through the generations, down through all the folks that have helped and committed to this moment that Piper did.
When you take the book and then you kiss the book when she comes in always. She'll come always. I'm putting the book here. Okay, take the book.
I understand what you meant now. Good
This is the top list part, the logistics, so bear with us. You can grab a seat. We're going to get ready to have Piper and her dad Craig read from Torah.
Okay, so Piper's going to read first. And I'm going to call the first person that's a great honor to come up and bless the Torah. And so for the first honor, Ya'aleh, grandfather Dennis Benjamin Aliyah Rishonah.
So what's happening is Piper's literally pointing out the spot in text, columns of Hebrew text without, I didn't mention, it has no vowels, by the way. Torah in this section has no vowels. Piper's pointing it out so that we know where we're reading from.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach
Baruch Adonai Hamelach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamelach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher b'chavanu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, Shelach anashim, vayatru et eretz Canaan, asher ani noten libnei Yisrael, ish echad, lemateh otav tishlachu kol nasi bahem, vayishlach otam Moshe midbar Paran al pi Adonai kolam anashim Rashi bnei Israel hema.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher natan lanu Torat emet. V'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Our next reader is Craig Benjamin, making a cameo appearance for the first time since his bar mitzvah. And for the honor, Ya'aleh, Piper's Uncle Graham Benjamin, Aliyah Shniah. Show spot.
Baruch et Adonai HaMorach.
Baruch Adonai Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim. Vatananu lanu et Torato. Baruch et Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Va'ele shemotam lemate Reuven Shamua ben Zakur lemate Shimon Shaphat ben Chori lemate Yehuda Kalev ben Yefaneh.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher natan lanu Torat emet. V'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
And Piper's going to read the third aliyah, and let's see, Ya'aleh, Craig Benjamin, Aliyah Shlishi. So we're still
Baruch et Adonai HaMorach.
Baruch Adonai Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Lemate Yisachar Yigal ben Yosef,
Asher natan lanu Torah emet. B'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Awesome. Now we're going to roll the Torah a little bit to a new spot. Yeah, so I think you're going to do the rolling job. Take the road when you see it.
So what we're doing, we're going to the very end of the chapter that Kuiper read. So she's going to sing to you the last lines of that chapter.
Can I see it?
Yes, it's that.
Give it a little pinch from my gosh. Okay. So this is the moment where Piper becomes officially a Bat Mitzvah. But before she says the blessing, I think everybody should come up and be part of this. Come on, everybody up here, everybody. It's easy enough to gather around. I just want to put the pressure on Piper a little bit more. Yeah, she doesn't do it. Follow your shoes. You come really close and check it out. It's pretty cool. Ta'aleh, ta'aleh, ta'aleh. Levana bat Hanan Menachem. Ba'alat Maftir ubat Mitzvah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamelorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamerach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamerach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Come close and watch Kuiper read.
Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, Daber el bnei Yisrael, ve'amarta elehem, va'asu lehem tzitzit al kanfei bigdehem lerotam, ve'nanu al tzitzit hakanaf v'til techelet, v'haya lechem letzitzit oritem otov. Uzechartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam v'lo tatu aharei levavhem ve'aharei lechem asher atem zonim ahareihem leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai ve'item kedoshim Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liyos lechem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Okay, go on, Kuiper. Wow.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Awesome job. I think she deserves some hugs from her family. Okay, we can go sit down here. Thank you for doing it. That was awesome.
No.
things that we like to try to do when we have the Torah out is to pause for a moment and be able to say a Misha Berach. And the Misha Berach is our healing prayer in Judaism. And I've been thinking a lot about this recently, and I don't claim to understand whether or not these healing prayers heal those who are sick or fix that which is broken. And yet, still, every time we gather together in community, every time, I choose to say these words. I choose to say them not knowing the outcomes, but I choose to say them with faith. That if I can put my heart and my loving energy and my support into those who are in need of healing, if I can do that for myself or the parts of me that need healing, we all need some healing, that is a positive thing. So while we have our Torah out, I ask you to join me in a quiet meditation. If you're comfortable, you can close your eyes. Think for a moment about those loved ones in your life who are in need of healing. Picture them. Picture them in your mind. Hold them in your heart. Send them your love and healing energy. And it's in our tradition, if you're interested in sharing the name of a beloved that is in need of healing, if you know that they would be comfortable with their name being shared communally, we'll create space for you to do that. And then we'll pray together. In our community, we're thinking about Phil Rogers, Bev Levin, Ken Ewing, Maggie Radford, Richie Blasco, Devorah Chaya, Bat Mitzvah. For those whose names we didn't mention, we'll pray together.
Healer of the broken-hearted, finder of them, counter of uncountable stars, you know where they are. How faithful ומחבש לעצמותם shelter of uncountable stars. You know who we are. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
We're coming to the close of the Torah portion of the service, and so I'm going to invite up Craig and his mom Vivian, and they're going to do something called Haggai and Galila, which is literally the mid-Chag, the tradition of putting the Torah back into the ark, but we do it with some fun choreography, making hyper turtles. So Craig's about to lift up the Torah, and when he lifts it up, he can rise, and he's going to try to show us some of the text. So we are getting on to the candy throwing. Not yet. So Piper's going to read from Haftorah, which is an extension of the Hebrew Bible, and it's different stories from prophets and other parts of the Queen. And Piper's going to read this one from Hebrew as well and chant it. This one has vowels as well. Do you want to do it? Do you want to do it? Okay. And after she finishes this, then we're getting towards candy throwing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'yim tovim v'ratzah b'divrayim hane'emerim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haoher b'torah u'Moshe avdo
much easier if kids and kids at heart come and grab candy. Now it's for you.
There we go. Now you'll join in.
I've never seen man's hands move. Look at him go.
He's motivated.
He's showing you all
Yeah, he's gonna help. He's gonna
Hey, I think these are okay. Okay, I find this funny. What's the next shot? Oh, you've got the thing. Oh, choose that.
Prayers from the Torah Surah,
This is just the prelude.
and then we will hear some teachings from.
Thank you. These are my feet.
Okay, we're on page 147, I believe, Judge, is that correct? For the concluding prayers of the Torah service, we're going to put the Torah back into the ark, and then shortly thereafter, Piper's going to share a Devar Torah, a word of Torah. That's what it literally means. She's going to share what it is that she just read, how she found value in it. I'll share my reflections, Craig will share, and then we'll wrap up with some final prayers. So that's where we are in the service right now. But now, we have to get the Torah back into the ark. And as you might imagine, there's some choreography to it. So, play along.
We're actually on page 146. Let's rise. Hallelujah, Shammai, Kinista, Shammai, Lavado, Holo, Eretz, V'Shamai, Layan, Ke'enehamo, Tehillahu, Hasidam, Livanei Yisrael, Ambehu, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Ki lekach od natati lachem, tahati al ta'azu. Tzahim li lemahazikimha, v'tomechea me'ushanu.
Let's read it that way.
Maybe the steps going too short. One year ago today, I was driving home from one of the strangest experiences of my life. On June 24th, 2021, I was at a summer camp in Casper called Key Camp. It was the fourth night there. Me and my friend were walking back from the dorms after evening activities. We just watched The Princess Bride. Watch out for rodents of unusual size. We tried to go back to the dorms to put our stuff back, but the counselors would let us. There were two crying girls talking to the counselors. I couldn't really hear what they were saying. Leaning in, I heard them say, "I heard the curtain rattle. I saw this figure." That's all I could catch. And then the counselors let us inside. On the way up the stairs to the dorms, a girl told me what was going on, or at least what she thought was going on. She said that some girls heard a man in their shower. One girl said she saw someone. I started to freak out. After we put our stuff down, we came back to the field to find chaos. Kids were crying everywhere. People were calling parents. I remember this girl who didn't want to leave her dorm room, and everyone was screaming at her to come down. Then the police showed up. Lots of kids attending Key Camp lived in Casper, and the parents were there as they got interviewed by the cops. The counselor said the boys were just playing a prank. Then some girl told me the boys had just seen someone. The counselors began reviewing the security footage, sweeping the campus, and doing everything to manage the situation as best as they could. The counselors were trying hard to keep us calm, and they split us into our groups, but it was chaos and confusion, as no one really knew what was happening. That's when I decided I couldn't stay. Fear took over. I called my dad, and he got in the car to come get us. It's a 5-hour drive, and it's 9:30 at night. My dad sent me a picture of someone he works with who lives in Casper. He'd only met the guy once, but knew how nice he was. So he came and picked me and my friend up. We spent the night at his house, and we got up in the morning, and my dad was there. We had eggs for breakfast, and then we drove home. I had a big fear of what we thought happened at Key Camp. The fear spread, and it made it so much worse, so I just bailed, which is understandable. Everyone has fears. My mom was terrified of bears. When we go camping, we sleep in a camper. I have a friend who's afraid of failure. I'm not just afraid of bad grades. It's not possible. You're way too smart. My brother's scared of algae, which I don't entirely get. Sure. When people have proven their trust to you, are there in dire times, don't run away in fear, have faith in them. In the Hebrew Bible, or Torah, there are 5 books. The 4th book is called Numbers, or Bamidbar. It means in the wilderness. The chapter I read from the Torah, or Parsha as we call them, is called Shalach, which means to send forth. In this Parsha, the Israelites have been wandering in the desert for years. Then, they have just reached the edge of the Promised Land. They send in 12 spies to scout the land. It's filled with luscious fruits, such as grapes and figs and pomegranates. It is a beautiful and perfect land. When they come back, 10 out of the 12 spies say that it's amazing, but there are giants and bad people who will kill them if they try to enter. Caleb and Joshua say that it's an amazing place, and there may be giants there, but God will lead them to the land safely, just as he had led them safely to this point. People hear the bad news first, and chaos starts to spread as rumors and fear get thrown around all the people, and they get too scared to go into the Promised Land. God gets mad at the people who lost faith in them. As punishment, the people who didn't have faith were sent to wander in the desert until that generation dies. Eventually, spoiler alert, their kids, the next generation, can go into the Promised Land. Only Caleb and Joshua from that older generation were allowed to enter the Promised Land within their lifetime, because they were the only ones who had faith. In my Key Camp experience, there was also fear, and it spread the same way. It was not contained, and the fear was everywhere. The outcome was the same as well. I didn't get to go back to Key Camp, and I was really enjoying it. The same was for the Israelites. They didn't get to go back to the Promised Land. A major difference was the situation of trust. At Key Camp, I was in a different town, so I didn't know anyone. I didn't know who the cops were. I didn't really know the counselors. From the Torah, the Israelites knew God. There was a strong establishment of trust. God had freed them from Egypt. God had guided them through the desert. There was a lot of trust. So, when people who have proven their trust to you are there in dire times, don't run away in fear, have faith in them. Now, I said when people have proven their trust to you. This is important. Another example. Over Memorial Day weekend, I was walking my dogs and we crossed a wobbly bridge over a river. They were absolutely terrified. They were hunched low to the ground and barely moving. But we have a bridge by our house that they walk across all the time with no hesitation. That's because they've been crossing that bridge since they were puppies, and it has proven to be a good, sturdy bridge. And because they can cross that bridge, it gives them so many opportunities. There are trails on either side, paths, friends. It's good to have faith in people and bridges, but don't have faith in the wrong ones. If people have proven their trust, trust them. Even if you're terrified, don't run, have faith. That's it.
Piper's taking her candy with her. Yasher Koach, Piper, amazing. So in our community, it's my blessing. It's a gift to me to be able to work with our B'nai Mitzvah students. So I've had the amazing blessing of working with Piper and her family over the last many months, studying Torah together. And it's also our tradition, our Mitzvah, that I get a chance to share a bit of reflections of that process and of working with Piper. And I have a question to start. Has anyone seen Piper perform on stage before? Yeah, okay. If you haven't had a chance, you got just a little taste of it today. Her amazing voice while chanting Torah, her stage presence, and I think, would you call it a synagogue presence in this I'm not sure. And despite the similarities, there are differences. There are differences between a theater performance and today. And Piper, we talked about this quite a bit, right? That what you just accomplished, it's not a performance. It's not a performance. The words you chanted were our people's ancient stories. You sang in a language not your own. This was not for entertainment. This was for spiritual engagement for our entire community. And your Devar Torah, your words of Torah, your teaching that you just shared wasn't a script written by someone else. It was your own words. Wisdom that you gleaned from 1,000-year-old text. Piper, what you accomplished isn't a performance today. It's leadership. I want to reiterate the wisdom of leadership that Piper just shared with all of us. If people have proven their trust, even if you're terrified, don't worry, have faith. Piper's teaching is nuanced. She's not suggesting we blindly trust strangers or to not be afraid. As we've talked about, fear is part of life. What she's asking us is to figure out how we navigate that fear with those we trust and love. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov was born in 1772 in Ukraine, and he has a lineage of communities that follow his teaching, the Breslov Hasidim, the Hasidic sect of the Breslov Jews. And one of his teachings is quite similar to what Piper shared today, and he has this beautiful, beautiful song that goes along with this teaching. Kol ha'ulam kulo Gesher Tzameo, Gesher Tzameo, Gesher Tzameo. And it continues, this beautiful song. And the words are apropos for Piper's teaching in so many ways. First, it means the entire world, the whole entire world is a very narrow bridge. And now every time I listen to this song, I just imagine Piper's two dogs on a narrow bridge. But the rest of the song, the whole entire world is a very narrow bridge. The rest of the song as it continues, the most important thing is not to be paralyzed by your fear. Piper, you derived a teaching from 1,000-year-old text. Your teaching is resonant to me, and I imagine to all of us today. Your wisdom aligns with a sage of ours, Reb Nachman of Breslov, one of my beloved teachers. Piper, you are a wise Torah scholar, aligned with one of the wisest of our people's teachers, Reb Nachman of Breslov, Rev Piper of Jackson. And I think it could be easy to stop and celebrate this alone. Piper sharing her wisdom derived from our text, shared in powerful ways. Bat Mitzvah complete, let's call it a success. Just like it'd be really easy to stop and celebrate after one of Piper's performances, one of her theater performances. Wow, what a great opening night at Matilda. Did you see it, by the way? What a great opening night at Matilda, right? It was amazing. Performance complete, a success. Amazing. But here's the thing. As I worked with Piper, I realized that the real learning, the real growth, the moments of Piper truly becoming a Bat Mitzvah, the moments of Piper truly becoming an amazing actor, it's the work and the learning and the preparation that led to these points. It's how she showed up along the way. This process was highlighted by Piper's openness to learning and interpreting Torah, not alone, but with her parents. Learning with mom and dad. Piper, you welcome your mom and dad, and you learned alongside them, because you understand intimately that today you're becoming a Bat Mitzvah. It has everything to do with you, and it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with you and nothing to do with you. Just like standing on the stage after you're opening at Matilda, you understand that such a moment has everything to do with you, and it's so much more. It's so much more. Today is the same, the door of a door, from generation to generation. You live that by inviting your parents into the study of Torah together. And the process was highlighted by where and how Piper studied Torah. Our study sessions were on Josie's Ridge. And if you know Josie's Ridge, you know it well. It's right by Craig and Stacy's and Piper's and Ryder's home. And it's amazing. We studied Torah in a stage flat up a bit on Josie's Ridge. And this is the same spot that 399 and her cubs walked by just a couple months ago. We studied Torah and engaged Judaism outdoors, just like our ancestors. Just like our ancestors were doing in the words that we were reading. When we read of our ancestors finding figs and pomegranates in the promised land, so big that they needed to be carried by 2 poles, Piper ate figs and realized their sweetness. When we read that Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all of the assembled congregation of Israelites, Piper stood up upon my request and acted out the scene, face down in the sagebrush class. You remember that, Piper?
Yeah.
Thanks for playing along. And I think in that moment, by reenacting that, Piper, I think we all understood the feeling of disappointment and overwhelm that perhaps Moses and Aaron must have felt at that moment in the story. And when we read of the beautiful nature of our promised land our ancestors scouted, you looked across our valley. Remember when we looked down into Jackson Hole and understood intimately why a connection to a place of beauty and abundance can have such a strong and important emotional connection and draw. Piper, you did not just read Torah, you experienced Torah. And the process was highlighted by joy. Each time of our study sessions, at the end, what would I ask you and your dad and your mom? Thermometer, an ancient Jewish tradition. Thumbs up, learning a lot, having fun. Thumbs down, I prefer a sharp sticking guy. Anywhere in between. Every single time, Piper, it was thumbs up. There were a couple that were like this. They were mostly when we had to be inside because of the weather. And our sages teach, and this is important, Piper, our sages teach that the best way to fulfill the mitzvah of studying Torah is with joy. Joy in Torah study is part, and has been part of your preparations. Studying community, not alone. Embodying and experiencing our stories, not just reading them. Doing this with joy. A meaningful teaching. Okay, done, Bat Mitzvah complete. Final performance or not. And then a few weeks back, we were studying together. We read a part of the Parsha about punishment of the generations of Israelites related to the 10 spies. We read an interpretation about the carryover of the wrongs from parents to children. Piper, do you remember this moment?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said that I think it was fair.
I don't think that's fair. We're reading an ancient text. We're reading interpretations by our sages. And Piper stood up and said, I don't like that. I don't think it's fair. Understanding our text, our sages' interpretations, and bringing your voice to this conversation, Piper. You just chanted from Torah, shared your wisdom, danced with your family and friends, got pelted with candy. Your responsibilities in the day are complete. You have become a Bat Mitzvah today. And yet, the truth is, the steps you took along the way in which you entered into this process, that's when you entered into the sacred covenant. Every step along the way. Embodied, joyful, generational meaning, and your strong voice. Wisdom beyond your years, Piper. It's the process that got you to this moment, and that's where your growth occurred. And now that I know how you prepare, you have to be careful because you're going to be asked to do more leadership in the Jacksonville Jewish community, as I'm sure you'll be cast in many leading roles, both with the Jewish community and in your acting career into the future. Mazel tov. It's my honor to welcome up Craig Benjamin, Piper's dad, to share some words.
Hello everyone. For those that I haven't met, I'm Craig Benjamin. I'm Piper's dad. Why are we gathered here today? Why is today important? Let me attempt to answer this question by saying thank you to the people who made today possible. And I'll start, this is pretty hard. I'll start with my dad. About a decade ago, my dad gave me some really sage advice. He told me that if something isn't making your life better, just stop doing it. And if it's going to make your life better, then do it. It's incredibly simple advice, but it's very profound, especially when you actually apply it to your life. And thank you, Dad, for always being there with words of wisdom. So for those that don't know, I grew up a practicing Reformed Jew, going to Hebrew school every week, thoroughly enjoying my Bar Mitzvah, spending 6 weeks in Israel between my junior and senior years of high school, learning all about our religion, our history, our culture. And then, because of a subconscious fear it took me decades to understand, I basically stopped being Jewish. Stacy and I enjoyed some of the fun Jewish traditions at our wedding. We had discussions about raising our kids Jewish when we had them, but that was about it. And then when we had our kids, we somewhat participated, but never truly introduced them to the Jewish community or our culture or our traditions. Here's the thing. There's something about a pandemic and the fear that comes with it that makes you reflect on what's really, really important in life. And after decades of being afraid to embrace who I really am, who we really are, 2 years ago I realized I was more afraid of not encouraging our children to discover all that is wonderful about being Jewish and helping them carry on our culture and our traditions. I realized it would make our lives better to rediscover being Jewish. And the best way to do that was to join Piper on a journey to her Bat Mitzvah. Lador Vador means the responsibility of passing on spiritual knowledge and cultural traditions from generation to generation to sustain our customs, our heritage, and our collective memory of the Jewish people. That's what today is all about. So I asked Stacy what she thought about asking Piper to go from 0 to Bat Mitzvah in less than 2 years. And not only did she say yes, she said, how can I participate in this? And how can I support this journey? Thank you, Stacy, for your encouragement, for your participation in this journey, and for making all of our lives better with your selflessness and your amazing sense of humor. Then I asked Piper if she wanted to study for her Bat Mitzvah as a way for us to discover Judaism together. I explained this was not something she had to do, that it was going to take a lot of work on top of her dance, her theater, her amazing friends, and made it clear this was her choice. And like her mom, Piper enthusiastically said yes. And we dove in head first. And none of this would have been possible without the amazing Jewish community that Mary, Judd, and Josh have created. Mary, thank you for your leadership, for helping us navigate this process, and for everything you do to make our Jewish community so warm and welcoming. Judd, thank you for being such an incredible teacher, and for everything you did to help Piper prepare for this day. I will always remember the first day I picked Piper up from her first Hebrew lesson with Josh, and I said, kiddo, how'd it go? She said, great! I learned more in the last hour than I have learned in all my years of Spanish in school. And she always had fun, so thank you. And Josh, there are no words to express my appreciation for the time that Piper and I got to spend with you studying Torah and for your leadership in this community. I have the utmost respect for anyone who is a master of their craft, whatever that craft may be, and you master on an entirely different level. Thank you. And to my mom. Thank you for modeling what it means to be proud of who you are, for encouraging me to embrace who I am, and for inspiring Piper and I to embark on this journey. And Ryder, thank you for supporting your sister on this journey, for giving her the time to study and not annoying her too much. You're next, bud, and I cannot wait to do this again with you. It's going to be so much fun. Most importantly, thank you, Piper, for leading me on this journey, for making me so proud. You chose to do this. You never complained. You worked your little tail off. I'll never forget making challah with you and your brother, sitting with you at Friday night services, both on Zoom, on our couch, and in person. The evenings that we spent on Josie's, sitting on the sagebrush with Josh, the birds chirping, the sun setting over High School Butte, watching you pull nuggets of wisdom from a text thousands of years old and apply it to our lives today. An incredible moment in our driveway just last week where Josh asked you to teach me the blessing of the Torah, and you began to sing the prayer. And this is a prayer I had not sung in probably 30 years. And despite not having done that in decades, it just came right back to me, and you were completely shocked. And you looked at me and you said, "How do you remember that?" And I just responded, "It's just there. It's just there." And now it's there with you too, Piper. And our lives are better, and our traditions will carry on for another generation. L'dor v'dor. Piper, I'm so proud of you for all the work you put into today, for just wanting to join me and your mother on this journey. I cannot wait for the next steps of our journey together. Finally, thank you all for being here today, being here surrounded by friends, family, this incredible Jewish community. It's what truly makes it special. L'dor v'dor. Thank you all.
Our closing prayers are on page 148. Let's rise for the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'ador ramo, v'teis g'nai l'sem v'reshi, shelo azar b'gin ha'atzot, v'no saman v'shmot ha'adama, shelo tzalteinu kahem, v'kol aleinu k'kol hamonah. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. והשיב אותה אל עולמך כי אדוני הוא אלוהים ונעמה והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
We'll take a moment and turn to page 154 in our prayer books for the mourner's cottage. This is the prayer that we say during our services when we gather a minyan, when we gather the minimum of 10 of our community members. And we say it to remember those beloved in our families and our lives who are no longer with us. And I ask that if you're so moved to share the name of a loved one that you're mourning now, if you're in a period of mourning, if you're commemorating a yard site, the anniversary of a loved one's passing, that you share their name with our community, and then we'll pray together. Members from our Jackson Hole Jewish community, Dr. Stuart Joel Abrams, Todd Bergstein, Alan Doss, Arthur Neal Fratt, Alan Hirschfield, Susan Herman, David Holmes, Jeffrey Joel, Stephen Capello, Phil Colaney, Emmy Knobloch, David Kornblum, Hillary Leverfeld, Jan Levinson, Sally Mortensen, Larry Reeser, Ron Sapol, Scott Stachel, Elliot Sussman, David Turkier, Herb Lip, Jim Wilkinson, Elaine Wilkinson, Larry Nestor, Ron Novak, Eli Sedlin, David Goldfarb, Bob Berlin, and Frank Lundy. May their memories always be for a blessing. If you're willing to join me in rising in memory of those names that we shared, we'll recite the Mourner's Cottage together on page 154. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba v'amad yivrach yiruteh v'yamlich machuteh v'chayechon u'yumechon u'chayeh d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'nur amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach Leolam Umei Almaya Yitbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yita'ar V'Yitramam V'Yitnaseh V'Yitadar V'Yitaleh V'Yitalal Shmei Kedusha Revu Ve'ela Min Kol V'Yirchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechemata V'Adoram Leolam V'Yimur Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabba Mim Shemai V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'nur amen. Oseh shalom librona, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'nur amen.
Oseh shalom librona, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Shalom,
some announcements. Mary Grossman, do you have some announcements?
Just that Kiddush is outside.
Okay.
And there's a little snack and oneg after, very light oneg, and please join us.
Great, so we'll go to the right through the hallways and then through the fellowship hall and outside we'll have a Kiddush. We'll say a blessing over wine and challah and a nash, a little bit of a bite to eat afterwards. So that's, everyone's welcome for that. For others, we'll have Shabbat next Friday at Owen Bircher Park at 6:30. Torah study is today at 4 p.m. via Zoom, if our Zoomer God wants to join or others. And we have a couple of gifts for Piper. Piper, give me one sec. Two gifts for Piper from the Jacksonville Jewish community to celebrate you. This first gift is a necklace from the Jewish community. Mary and Judd were in Israel recently and they found a necklace just for you. So this is for you from Israel, from the Jewish community, and Mary and Judd. And Piper, we hope that this reminds you that as you walk forward, just like you did with your mom and your dad, you're part of Klal Yisrael. This isn't about being Jewish by yourself. You're part of a larger community around the world as you walk forward from this point. The second is a handmade journal. This is a tradition in our community that we started years ago. A handmade journal that Kaylin and me and my kids made. The inside of this journal has a couple things. So it has the prayers that you engaged in today. So you can carry this with you wherever you are in the world, and you'll know you'll have your Jewish prayers with you. It has some of the words that you shared and your dad shared. There's a spot for family members to write some notes if you want to later, and you can carry those with you forward. It's made of elk hide. And that's to remind you of this place. I know how much you love this valley and this place, and that's to remind you that you are becoming a Jew in the eyes of a Jewish adult in the eyes of our community in Jackson Hole, and remember that. And then there's blank pages for you to write your Jewish story into the future. So these are two gifts for you. Mazel tov, Piper. What an amazing job! Can we give Piper a big round of applause? Congratulations. This is Piper's favorite tool. This is called the Yad, the hand that we used to read Torah. That's okay, we can do it later. We're going to sing one last song, and then we welcome you for Kiddush, blessing of some bread and some nash together. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're on page 156. Adon Olam Hashem Allah B'terem kol Yisir Yivach Ve'et Nasar V'Tefso Kol Azai Melech Shemo Yikra Ve'acharei Yichlot HaKol Ve'la'ado Yimloch Noah Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hovei Ve'hu Yihye Ve'Sifah
Shabbat Shalom.
We'll go bless the wine and the bread, and then we can eat and enjoy each other and congratulate Piper a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Yes.
Oh, ew. So gross. Gave you tissues back.